This is advice for people who are semi-serious about growing a... I just realised I've got a fan on in the background. This is from my experience only. It does not necessarily mean that if you follow these rules that you'll go out and become a big content creator. It just means that if you follow the rules, in my personal experience, it believes that you will start to get traction with people with a following on. To be honest, number 7 is something that I definitely wish I knew before starting. Anyway, let's get into the video. This is advice for people who are semi-serious about streaming on Twitch. If you want to go out there and just have fun and you're just doing it as a hobby, it's fair enough. I can absolutely agree that you guys just want to go out there, have a bit of fun, talk to some couple of friends while live streaming the game. That's absolutely fine. But these are for people who are someone who is actually trying to physically grow, get more people involved with what they are doing on Twitch, and yeah, just trying to grow. Doesn't mean that you can't have fun though. Come on. We're all up. That's all we really want to do, is have some fun. Otherwise, why would we be playing the games involved? If you are struggling with anything else, or I don't mention something and you think it's important, or you want to chat something over and more, be sure to go out and check the Discord. I'll leave a link in the description below. And also, I do stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday at 7 o'clock in the evening. But let's get into the countdown. Number 1, setup. The setup will be something that you definitely need to have before streaming. It's obvious. You need to have something to play your game on, you need to have something to actually stream on, you need to be able to produce your content on Twitch. This can be something fairly simple, from an Xbox with just a camera plugged into it, all the way up to having a dual PC, streaming, gaming rig ready to go with all the bells and whistles. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you'd be able to afford that from when you start off, because obviously the gaming rigs will be quite expensive. However, most people who do start on Twitch do need to have a microphone, just to start off with. But it doesn't necessarily need to be a decent microphone. It could be a microphone from a headset, just because you need to be able to converse in real time with your viewers. However, the first serious item that you need to have is a webcam. People who want to watch you on Twitch want to see that physical interaction with you. They don't want to be watching someone just playing a game and someone commentating over the top of it, because what's the difference in between that and watching it on YouTube? Twitch is beneficial because you have the first live audience reaction, you have the chat going, and you can see the person who you are watching in real time. There are many cheaper webcams out there, often around £30-40 mark at the moment on Amazon, but the first one that I would suggest you go and get is a Logitech C920 or a Logitech StreamCam. Just be careful with the Logitech StreamCam because that is a USB-C connection, which most older laptops don't have. Whereas the USB on a normal Logitech C920, what is ideal with that is that it's a plug and play functionality. It streams in 1080p with 30 frames per second, which is plenty enough for Twitch. It is an awesome webcam for what the cost is. Just be careful around at the moment because of the COVID outbreak. The prices will be quite inflated, but they are starting to come down again because of the availability of webcams. Once you get a camera that you are comfortable with streaming with and you are happy with the results, you can then go and look about broadening your audio. Audio is probably the more important thing, because if you've got bad video quality, people are willing to normally look through that. If you've got bad audio quality, people will normally be clicking off your stream quite quickly. There is a variety of condenser microphones which you can just use as a USB. There is microphones like the Blue Snowball and the Blue Yeti and the Blue Yeti Nano. As such, what I'm using right now is the Blue Yeti Nano, which can produce a very nice sound quality. You can go up into the XLR microphones, which are normally about the same price as these, but then you would need to have a mixer being plugged into it, which is basically something that can transfer the data into something that your computer can read. Those setups will normally be more expensive, but your voice quality will be normally a better quality. If you are starting to play from console instead of playing from PC, you'd probably want to start having a look at getting a capture card as well. This is a device that you can plug into your PS4 or Xbox and will replicate the video and sound feed onto your PC so that you can stream it from your PC. This will allow for your overlays, which we'll get onto in a minute, to be played onto your computer, as well as producing normally a better stream quality. Handy tip number 1. If you've got a cheaper setup, it does not necessarily mean that you will drive people away from your stream. If you are producing the quality content, even with a cheaper setup, it proves to show that you are creating the best quality content for your viewer, and they are happy to watch it no matter what the quality. If you up the quality, that will just mean that normally you'll be able to bring in more people to watch your good quality content. If you upgrade your items from your stream, and you've got a little bit of money that's now coming in from your Twitch, always look at getting something which will be upgrading your viewer experience, not your experience. Admittedly, it is very nice if you think about it, getting a 4K screen or upgrading your computer. However, unless it is affecting your stream quality, you should not be looking at that. You should be looking at trying to do something with your camera, with your audio, with your overlays, getting better overlays, etc. Online stream platforms. Woo! Before starting streaming, it is very, very useful to go and watch some YouTube videos about online streaming platforms. This is such things as Streamlabs and Stream Elements are probably the two biggest main stream platforms that are out there at this precise moment in time. They can be a control point for your donations, for your alerts, for your overlays, moderation for your chat, producing bots so that it can introduce your social medias, it can do your follow requests, all from your chat, so you don't have to be jumping off and on the game that you are playing, so that you are fully concentrating on the game that you are playing. Take your time in deciding which one to choose, because once you choose one, it is a bit more difficult the further down the line you are changing over your stream platform. Streamlabs has a lot more information involved. It is a bigger site, so you can expect a lot more information, you can get a lot more out of that. However, Stream Elements is a lot easier to use. I believe that the Stream Elements is a lot easier to use in my mind. The interface is a lot easier to use. There's a lot less that you need to do, and it's a lot easier to include other functions. You can also test a lot more. The overlay maker is incredibly easy to use, and you can import your own if you want to. I just believe it's a better thing, but both are extremely powerful pieces of equipment which I believe that would further your stream. Number 3, graphics. Oh, I love graphics. I know this sort of blends into the previous section. However, I thought it was necessary just to give its own section, because it is a really powerful piece of kit. Your overlay is almost like an extension of your channel. So it is a branding, it can be your colour scheme, it will be your aesthetics, it will be your view of people coming into your stream. It's the first thing that they look at is your overlays, your alert panels, the whole look of your channel. To begin with, I believe that you should be choosing your face as your logo. Your logo is something that everyone will see. However, when you're starting up, people will not know who your brand is, and you are your brand. So you need to be choosing your face to begin with. You can change it to your logo later on, you can change it to be a different style of face, but your face to begin with is probably the most important asset to your stream. Also, there's no point right at the beginning pouring money into getting your own logo done. Just keep it as your face. Once you start getting an audience, you know that you want to be able to doing it, then start looking at possibly getting a logo once you start thinking that you are serious about doing it. Also, your brand isn't established when you first start, so that's probably the better thing, that you're not trying to introduce a brand when it's very new. you're trying to establish it once you've got an audience already. Your overlay is incredibly important. I'd suggest going on to something like Streamlabs, Stream Elements, getting a free overlay at that precise moment in time. They often have alert panels, they often have channel panels as well for underneath, which you can use for free, and it will all be one holistic overview of your channel. It will all be the same colour scheme, so it looks professional. There are other websites and streamers and content designers who do also make free overlays, which can be useful if you want to stream one game. They often do like a game specific overlay, which is awesome. I'd also just make sure that you just go and check out as much as possible. There are some websites that you can actually go and customize your own Twitch panels and Twitch overlays and things like that for free. I haven't personally used them, but I do believe that there's some of them out there which are useful to use. Just make sure that, as I said before, make sure that your overlays and your panels and all have a similar color scheme, because you don't want to be having something which counteracts each other. Once you start to get that viewer basis into your channel, start making it look a brand. Once you get your viewers constantly in your channel and you start to create that viewer base, you then want to be starting to create your brand. Start having a look at getting a logo first of all. Also start having a look on getting a customized overlay, customized panels and customized alerts, just because then once they come in, they all look the same. Looks professional and also is unique to your channel. You can go on to things like own.tv, which is a great place to go and get panels and overlays if you want to have something which looks kind of generic, or if you want to go on to something else, go and look on Fiverr, or go and get something which is if you know anybody else who is a graphic designer, you can go and ask them. Just to make you guys aware, there are two main types of overlays. There's static and animated overlays. Static overlays use a lot less power to produce them. They don't move around, so it doesn't need much video memory at all and much CPU. So these things, if you're trying to play an intense game on a PC with an animated overlay, you probably will have some issues with that. We'll come on to that in a bit more detail in a second. Handy tip: look around for your overlay. Your overlay is something that you need to be proud of, and you need to believe that it represents your channel. If you are trying to find stuff from Fiverr, ask for someone for some advice, get a recommendation from somebody. If you're going on to Owned, make sure that you believe that that's a really nice overlay and you like it yourself, because if you like it, then your viewers will more often like it. Number 4, OBS Software. This is probably the biggest learning curve about streaming. OBS stands for Open Broadcasting Software. It is a piece of software that you use on your computer, which will be able to broadcast your stream. So it's basically how you stream on a computer. There are various different OBS packages out there. Some of the biggest ones are Streamlabs OBS, Studio OBS, there's XSplit, and there is also Stream Elements OBS. Your OBS is how you make your stream come alive, basically. So spending the time to get used to how you use OBS is probably the most important thing to start off with. Not just how to set up scenes, how to set up your panels, how to make sure that your overlays work, how to make sure that it's integrated into Streamlabs or Stream Elements. You can create other things. You can make your webcam different. You can make it a different shape. You can make it blurred. You can put a filter on it to make you look prettier. You can do so much involved with it. But to put the time in to understand OBS will make your stream elevate above everyone else's who are at the same level than you. Don't be afraid to change stuff in OBS. Go and have a play around, go and put some filters on, go and put some audio filters on, change the levels, change your position of your camera, just go and have a play around with it. Every single time you make a change, and you might fall into something which makes it so much better. So just don't be afraid of it. Just go in, have a play around. YouTube is your friend with OBS. Learn from other people. Go in and ask some streamers, how do you do this? You can create blurred effects. You can do things which you possibly would have thought, unless you've seen it before, you probably wouldn't have thought about it. OBS uses video memory and CPU to stream. Different packages uses different amounts of video memory and CPU to process, because some of them are more powerful, some of them do more, etc, etc. From my experience, OBS Studio uses less video memory and CPU than other packages, because it is an open broadcast, it's an open source project, which basically means that you can add in as much information that you want. You can change it a lot easier than any of the other packages. This is where you can get, if you've got something which is more of a dual PC setup, so if you have got two PCs that are just sitting around, it might be useful that if you've got a capture card, you can use a 2 PC setup. So you have one for just producing your OBS, and then you have your other for your gaming. Now, not everybody can afford that, unfortunately. My situation is that I've only got a 1 PC setup at the moment, which means that when you're coming up to the more graphics intense, CPU intense moments, you need to be it will struggle to use stuff. So you may have to drop down on your game quality, or you will have to drop down on your video quality being sent out. Number 5, scheduling. It's important to try and get a regular streaming schedule. If you don't stream regularly, people will not know when you're streaming. So if you try and make it so that you are streaming the same days every week and roughly the same times every week, people will know when you're streaming. This should realistically be a maximum of 4 days a week, to allow for rest, to allow for there's a very common thing which is called burnout, which people will refer to in other streams and other YouTube videos, which is you're streaming too much, so you get tired, you don't produce great quality content. You need to be trying to limit the amount of time that you're streaming so that you are producing effective content, otherwise people will not come back. It also allows you to go onto other platforms and other media so that you can promote your content, which we'll come back to later on in this video. It's easy, it is so easy, and I fell into this trap to try and be streaming 5, 6, 7 times a week because you want to be getting out there. Unfortunately, Twitch doesn't work like that in the beginning. The more you stream, the less quality content that you normally produce, and that will mean that less people will want to be coming in. Also, if you're streaming every single day, your normal viewers will not be coming in every single day either. So you want to be producing it on a semi-regular basis, but you don't want to be over streaming. Twitch is also really bad for being discovered, so it won't be like YouTube, is that if you put on 1,000 videos, you're more likely to be discovered than if you've got 10 videos. With Twitch, if you stream for 7 hours, 7 days a week, does not necessarily mean that you'll be discovered sooner than someone who is on 1 hour or 4 hours 3 times a week. Just because you're streaming more does not necessarily mean that you will get more viewers. Try to be live at the same sorts of time during the day as possible, if it is possible in your daily schedule, because if you start at the same time, people will normally be coming in at the same time each evening to come and watch your streams, which means that if they want to come and check, see if you're online, they know roughly when to come and check if you're online. If you are working somewhere where you've got shift work, if you've got different days of the week, just try and explain that to your viewers. Try and put up a schedule before you go on during the week so that people will know when you're on. Don't just come on randomly. Don't just start streaming when you feel like it. Just because if you do that, less people are less likely to come onto your stream. If you can, update your stream schedule on Twitch. When you're offline, people who come in can see when you're next live, and they'll possibly come back for that stream. Roughly try and aim for streaming at 4 hours a time. Anything more than 4 hours, your content starts to dip a little bit and your enthusiasm starts to possibly go. And also the other thing is that if you stream any less than 4 hours, it's too quick for people coming in, and they're less likely to come in next time because you're not producing a longer length of content. 6. Promoting your stream. Twitch is not the best place to be discovered. Twitch doesn't actively promote lower streamers, doesn't produce, unless you're hitting like that 20 viewer mark, you are less likely to be discovered on your as a recommended channel. The best way to promote your content is to be producing other content on other platforms. This could be videos, this could be just clips of your content, or even producing funny little insights into your life. It can be anything on other platforms, just something that could promote people coming into your Twitch. YouTube is a content platform which is great to marry up with Twitch. People do get confused because if they believe that if you've got a YouTube channel you'll probably live stream on YouTube, but that just isn't the case. In my mind, YouTube is known as a static video watching platform. Twitch is a live streaming platform. YouTube videos you can find constantly. It's a passive form of exposure to the wider world. You don't have to be online on YouTube to be found. You can put highlights on here, you can do vlogs, you can do how-tos, you can do anything on here. You can even do what I'm doing right now. Just remember that it works on search engine optimization, but to get into that realistically you need a whole nother video. Twitter is a great platform to grow. Just go and have a look on YouTube or go online and just go and look at how to grow on Twitter. Twitter can be great because you can actively promote stuff. It's quite an easy thing to be putting a 140 character message together just of your thoughts of the day. Just remember, don't over promote it, don't over tweet. Just make sure that it's good, effective content and it makes people laugh, or it makes people engage with what your content is so that they'll come into your stream. Instagram is also a great place to post. Instagram you can use hashtags a lot more effectively than Twitter in my mind. It's also a great place to cause a buzz. You can create your own hashtag. I believe that the hashtag on Twitter is started to dying out, whereas on Instagram you can put as many as you want. That isn't an extensive list of social medias. There's other social medias. Reddit comes to mind. Using a lot of social medias ineffectively is nowhere near as good as using a few social medias effectively. So I would highly suggest using a smaller number of social medias and use them to effectively promote your content. Handy tip, there's also lots of tools in social medias you can use to create a buzz and to create engagement with your audience. Twitter is great with this, with polls. You can put videos on which is funny. You can put all sorts of things on there to grow your community. You can create your own hashtag on Instagram. You can create a Facebook group if you want to, but just make sure that you've got something that you can be engaging with your content. The other thing that you can do is also create your own Discord group. Once again, I'll be putting that link in the description and here so that you can come in and ask questions and join in with the community. Last but not least, 7. Do not underestimate the time involved with streaming. I think it's really underestimated how much time you need to be putting into this to start growing effectively. It's not just about the pure time that you're actually putting in to start streaming, which can seem daunting. If you're doing 4 times a week, 4 hours, that's 16 hours a week. That's half a full-time job. But once you start adding in creating the streams, getting your overlay sorted, making sure that OBS is working, sorting out any problems, making your stream better, being on social media, being active in a Discord groups, creating content on other platforms, all of a sudden you've got a full-time job. So do not underestimate the amount of time required to do this job. It is a job. I know that some people find it daunting, that you think of it as another job, but it is the best job that I've ever taken because I've decided to do it. It is not the best paying. You won't really see much money to begin with. I've as you've seen from my last YouTube video, I am incredibly humbled by the group of people who have started following me. I am incredibly gracious. And once again, even though we're not doing this on this one, thank you to everybody who is coming into my streams, everybody who ever mentions me, everybody who tweets me, everybody gets involved. Twitch is an incredible platform to be part of. Streamer or viewer, the community is incredible. And for me just to be a little part of that at this precise moment in time is cracking. I'm sure there's something that I missed. If I have, I'm sorry. But this is what my opinions are at this precise moment in time. This isn't a guarantee for success if you follow all of my information, but I believe that if you follow what I've just told you, you'll be putting yourself on a solid foundation for starting Twitch streaming. It's been your guy logging off for today. Cheers.